Welcome to an emergency podcast episode from District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K. Big news today as we moved on from not one, but two edge rushers, two former first-round picks in Montez Sweat and Chase Young. I'm quickly going to walk you guys through the timeline, and then I'm going to throw it over to K. for his thoughts. At 11:42 a.m., it was announced that Montez Sweat was being moved to the Chicago Bears for a second-round pick. And early on, just reading the fan base, people were excited because a second-round pick from the Chicago Bears, probably in the 30s. So we go, okay, pretty good return for Montez Sweat. 12:07 p.m., John Keim tweets out, there's still a chance that Chase Young gets moved as well. A lot of other people were saying, no way, no chance. We've already traded Montez Sweat. Why on earth would we trade Chase Young as well? To which John Keim kept pushing back, saying, hey, not saying it's going to happen, but that it is possible. And then at 2:40 p.m., Chase Young ends up being traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a third-round pick, potentially a compensatory third-round pick, which would be at the very end of it. And then all of a sudden, a slightly different tune from the fan base as they go, what the fuck are we doing? K-Dot, those were the big trades of the day across the league. The only other really big one was Josh Dobbs to Minnesota, but that still pales in comparison to Chase Young and Montez Sweat, both moving to San Francisco and Chicago, respectively. What are your thoughts?
A little shell-shocked. I think wonderful job running through the timeline, because I think that is what going through a lot of people's heads is like my reaction to it. When I saw the Montez thing, I think my heart sank a little bit, but it's like what we said in the last pod. My heart wants Montez to reach his peak here with us. I've grown attached to the player, to the guy in this area and in that uniform. But I can understand logically if you didn't think that you were going to re-sign him. You get what you can. A second-round pick from the Chicago Bears would mean this be a high second-round draft pick. You'd be like, all right, cool. All right, if we're walking away from today with this being the situation, understood. We still got Chase Young. We still got the other guys on the defensive line. I'm feeling okay. Sad, but okay. Get through the day fine with this information, right? And I'm ready for the next episode of the pod. We could say our thank yous to Montez in this time here in Washington. The Chase Young news, when I saw like the John Keim reports, JP, everybody's put that like it's still a possibility. I just didn't quite. I took it as no, they're not going to do that too. Like you already just got rid of Montez. Like you have another guy, 24 years old. If he walks away from you in free agency next year and gets signed somewhere, you're still looking at a third-round compensatory pick. So it's like at an angle, it's like, okay, unless the offer's too good to say no to, you're gonna hold on to this guy. And then the word comes that not only is he going anywhere, he's going to San Francisco, which is like a double-edged like knife in the gut, because we all remember Trent Williams going there. And the idea that on both sides of the football, they got third-round picks for top 5 draft talent on our end hurts. It does feel fucked. It doesn't feel right. Like, to me, I feel like the Chase Young thing, there's another wrinkle to it. Whether that be, we always hear that Chase and Montez are best friends. Does this mean that they thought maybe he'd be a locker room cancer? Do they think, I know the thing that's been going viral, at least in the Washington circles, is Chase Young snaps in the Philadelphia Eagles game. And a lot of plays in which people are saying that he looks like he was taking off or not doing his all in the game. And it's like, okay, I watched that and I'm just like, there must be something else to it. Because if you trade him for a third-round pick that you could have gotten even if you walked away, because that's what makes the San Francisco deal so good. If you're San Francisco, you take this shot knowing that you need to bolster the defense, who's been kind of okay but not great this year, right? You add him next to his old college teammate, fucking Nick Bosa, like you're making your Super Bowl run. And if he doesn't want to re-sign with you, you still get that pick back potentially in fucking compensation. So it's like, makes all the sense in the world for San Francisco. But for us, it's like, unless there's another element to it, I don't know. And this is me just looking at there are other things I can look at big picture that make me feel better about this overall. But right now, I just can't wrap my head around what it is I thought about this team or thought about the players yesterday and what it might mean today.
I want to also add in a touch more context, which could be speculation, but it's speculation from local media. Okay, in regard to Chase Young. So I was watching the Junkies talk to Kevin Sheehan, so a bit of a mix. You have 106.7 The Fan, you have Team 980 getting together talking, and they're both very well-known sources within the DC sports media game. And they're chatting about Chase Young specifically. So after they've talked about the details of the Eagles' loss, where to from here, etc., what about the trade deadline? And with Chase Young, there was a 10-second moment in that video that I was listening to where they said, oh, there are a lot of problems with Chase Young and some that, fans may not even know about. And so there is, I think, some sort of smoke there, according to them. We don't know, right? But we're a fan podcast, but according to them, there may be something, right, that we don't necessarily know. Because when you look at the compensation for Chase Young, on talent alone, it does not make sense. And we both agree there. And I think fans watching this right now would agree as well. But there have been questions about his motor at times, for example, just on the field, like, he maybe over pursues and there's a massive lane. You and I have talked about it, for example, or going too far and avoiding the lane discipline. And so now what we're left with, are names we know locally, but maybe not that they know nationally, right? So talking about James Smith-Williams, Casey Toohill, KJ Henry, Andre Jones, like these are the guys we're talking about, but we still have Alan Payne, etc. I think there is something more when it comes to Chase Young. I don't know exactly what it is, but it does seem like there's something more than simply the knee is an issue, the 22 games missed, 23 games missed. There seems to be something else there. But yeah, go ahead, kid.
Yeah, and I think that we don't want to be speculative on shit that we don't know about, especially for a guy that we like and we root for. And I'm rooting for him hardcore in San Francisco. I'm rooting for all those guys in San Francisco, all those ex-Washington players. Go fucking crush shit. But even when you hear like his dad having to go on the media to try to defend or be his PR person, it just felt like things were unraveling. That's never great. It's just never great. But I think that like if I'm looking at this team and you see the reaction of like a Jeremy Reeves online, you see the reaction of Cam Curl online.
Yep.
Being shocked. I know the last thing I saw from Cam Curl was like, I don't even want to talk to anybody right now. I don't know what this does to the locker room at all. I don't know what this does as far as you don't make we've been scratching our heads over, all right, how can you allow the front office to make certain decisions knowing that there's a good chance they're not going to be here? Dan and Rossini's been talking about it all day. This is an ownership move. Ownership is making the calls.
Yep.
If that is the case, you've just cut Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio's legs right out from under.
Tweeted as much from the District Divided account.
Right. So it's like
it's done.
It's done. And if it's done and you have a team that's like they are now fully accepting lame duck, period. We're playing for some guys already have the contracts. As a matter of fact, I'd even say that like nobody's safe right now if you want to be on this team next year. I think everybody's up to potentially go somewhere. Because really, I look through that team. I don't know anybody at this point. I wouldn't put anybody on in a completely safe list except maybe Deron Payne. That's it. I just don't know what this dynamic looks like for the rest of the team going forward. I feel as though if this is going to be the move, they need to make a move on Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio quick. I need to see Eric Bieniemy a head coach. If we're in full blown evaluation, let's trust the Josh Harris process territory. Then let's go. And then when the Chase Young move happened, I was actually more surprised they didn't sell more. I was surprised that like Antonio Gibson, he's not off for fucking potato chips, or Brissett's not gone, or Curtis. They're just finding fucking spots for people. Like I thought that it would be more of a fire sale necessarily once I heard Chase Young was on the move. So yeah, to me, it just feels like the Montez Sweat thing made sense through and through. The Chase Young thing, unless there's something else to it, still a head scratcher.
Yeah. And so that's why just my opinion, I do think there's something more to it, because otherwise I don't know why you do it. And I do trust new ownership. It's new, right? So there's going to be new trust. Anything but the other guy, right? Like, it's one of those things right now where you go, okay, you got the benefit of the doubt. You've done the whole trust the process thing in Philadelphia. You did build a good team. It didn't quite get there, but I know you were pretty high on that Philly team.
I've picked Philadelphia every year.
Yep, you sure have.
And they have it. So yeah, I'm not going as far as you just yet, but
sure.
I think to me, the only other thing that I can look at, and this is where I'm like, if there's a positivity that's really coming out of this from a fan perspective and me putting my logical brain into it, Let's strip heart away from the situation, because the heart says it hurts to see Trent Williams on another team performing up to his excellent level when he could be here. The heart says it sucks seeing Kyle Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell, Matt LaFleur, all these dudes that have come through here, have success other places when they should have had it with us.
Yeah.
The heart hurts on that.
Of course.
From a logical standpoint, I do feel good that this ownership is saying, this is ours. This is ours now.
Sorry, just a couple things. This
is
the first time we have very actively rebuilt
ever.
In 20 plus years, 30 plus years, whatever it may be, because every single team under Dan Snyder, he who must not be named, rather, excuse me, is really, it's always been the marketing of, oh, this is a Super Bowl team. You get the old free agents and we're just going to make it work now. The team would look bad, but they would find ways to package shit and tell you that it's gold over and over and over again. This is the first time we've actually gone on a trade deadline, sold, and gone, we are going to build for the future. So there's plenty of reason for excitement in that sense also. Yes, it does hurt that Chase Young is going to San Francisco, for example, right? Because you may end up seeing these guys, Trent Williams and Chase Young, hold up a Super Bowl trophy. And it's like, man, really wish that was with us, right? Like those are two of our top picks, right? Trent Williams, superstar over here. Chase Young, rookie of the year over here. So like that will hurt. There's no denying that should that occur. But this is the first time we're actively rebuilding. There are plenty of reasons for excitement. On the subject of the offensive players not being moved, that's what I wanted to highlight, that bucket of players. That side of the ball, maybe they're intentionally not touching Eric's side, right? The defense has been horrible. We've talked about the 6 first-round picks over and over again. What are they going to fall from, 31st to 32nd? All right, like, it's the season's a lost cause. We knew this. The moment they lost to the Bears, we all knew it. That instant reaction we did, that didn't come from nowhere. That was an acknowledgement that this team is not close enough. And team, I mean players plus coaches. Not close enough. So you may as well blow it up. They've done so on the defensive side of the ball. They have plenty of cap space. Cam Curl is hurt. Jeremy Reeves is hurt, like emotionally, I mean, right? They're friends. This happens. That is part of the business of it. And the human side of it, that you lost some of your friends today, right? They went elsewhere. So it hurts. But from the business side of things, now if Cam Curl continues to play well, he's a professional, he's going to get paid over here. We have the money. We said pick 2 of 3, Montez, Chase, and Cam Curl. We both picked Cam Curl and then one of Montez and Chase. Cam Curl's here. He's still here. So you can pay him. You can build. It is a good time right now. It just is a tough day in the present. That's where I'm at.
I don't disagree. I echo anything you said. I will say that what makes me happy is that new ownership they're putting their mark on it. They're taking responsibility and accountability already. And the other part of me that is excited as far as the prospects of the future, and when we talk about a rebuild, I actually can't think of a time in the history of the Washington organization that we did a rebuild, including the Joe Gibbs era.
There you go. So maybe this is the very first time.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm looking at that era. It's usually just all right, a certain swathing, but not a complete tear down and rebuild. The idea for us here, experiencing something for the first time, and then but the positive future aspect of it would be if you are a prospective head coach or a GM or a team president looking at a particular situation, and you see, hey, that Washington team, they got a lot of draft picks. They got a lot of fucking cap space. Might have a quarterback. They got 2 guys on the defensive line that kind of worth something. I can mold this team anything I want it to be. Somebody's going to have a full chance to get a no excuses, full-blown opportunity to run this thing and to get a good shot at it without the baggage that you're bringing in from another era or another this becomes a very, very attractive spot. Now, whether or not that's the same case as far from a player standpoint, because Washington has a tendency to not take care of their guys, it doesn't look great getting rid of both of these dudes as far as that perspective goes. But if you can get the right guy to helm the ship, he's going to have a lot of opportunity to do some things. Even I was floating the question today is like, let's just get crazy with it, okay? Right now, with the draft picks that they have, the draft capital they have, with some of the guys that they have, they're truly at the starting point where they're like, fuck it, none of these guys are ours. Could you even get into Caleb Williams sweepstakes? Like, you can make some fucking moves. Like, you can package some shit. Whoever gets in here next is going to have options. So that's a good thing.
Plenty of options. And Josh Harris being the owner, this is also going to be the first new head coach under Josh Harris. So there's also some excitement there as well. I can be the first coach under new ownership. I know what the old one was like, and I can really make a name for myself here with just brand new energy. So lots of excitement moving forward. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here, K-Dot?
With that said, it's now starting. Josh Harris, ownership, I'm blaming you. If the shit goes bad, I'm blaming you. If it goes right, you're getting all the credit in the fucking world. But right now, we are now transitioning. We are in this transition period, and I welcome it. The Dan Snyder era, ding dong, the bitch is dead. He's out. He's gone. This is you guys, and I'm choosing to believe in you, and you're up.
This is the first time new ownership has played some cards. Let's go ahead and see how it unfolds. Let's go ahead and see who makes the picks. Let's go ahead and see how the other guys do when they get proper coaching, right? Like, if they go on, by the way, if Montez Sweat and Chase Young go on to have success, I don't see that as an issue. I want them to have success. I'm not going to go, oh my gosh, look at these idiots in the front. No, there was a very clear reason for the rebuild, and so be it. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Just that's sports.
I gotta see
some you hit, some you miss. It's gonna happen.
If they miss out on those draft picks and then those guys go on and be all pros.
Oh, sure. So that's why I said the draft picks matter, right? And who's making the picks?
It's a long game. It's a long game here. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And it is an opportunity again. Casey Toohill, James Smith-Williams, F.A. Obata, KJ Henry, Andre Jones. Like, if they end up playing better, that would be great. It is a full-on evaluation for everybody. Like you said, everyone's been put on notice. And this was the Emergency Podcast, brought to you by District Divided, DC Sports Podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I'm Amit, that is K-Dot. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and K-Dot,
share this shit.
Share this shit. On to the rest of the season. Let's see how we do against New England. We will release an episode Friday, 2 p.m., previewing that episode, maybe talking a bit more about these traits. Until then,
the tank is on!
Take it easy.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.